How's everybody doing this morning? This is L.A. Kendrick from the House of Havoc. Nightly, weekly horror stories told, okay? So I'm doing it a little bit late so that I can have it ready for the evening. And I'm not going to take up too much time explaining. So without further explaining and getting what slowed me down. So without further ado, let's get right into the story. The new story is titled, It Wasn't Invited. And it's about a family that moves into a new home and they start having, some of the kids start experiencing scary stuff. Almost like a haunting or something going on in the house. So there's 4 children, 2 older boys, a sister, and a younger son. And the oldest son and the youngest are separated by 10 years, and the second is separated by 8 years. So the oldest, he's about ready to go out to the military. He's got his military orders, he's got his paperwork, he's just ready to be shipped off. And then the second oldest, he's about to embark on his life because he's about to graduate from high school. So he doesn't have much time left either. So they move into a new home after saving up enough money. So the parents move them into a new home. Nice home, nice environment, nice neighborhood, nice kids. Just seemed like a pretty good community. But the youngest, he starts noticing things happening in the house or around him. And so he's an adult now and he's sharing these stories with us. So he's walking around in the house and checking out his room, and everybody's checking out their room and their space except for the oldest because he's not going to be there long. And just getting familiarizing themselves with the environment. And really enjoying what's happening and enjoying the big step up. So the younger son, he starts to feel all of this pressure. Something's not quite right in the house, in the home. But he doesn't think much of it. He just shakes it off because he chalks it up to imagination, because that's what they always tell him. It's your imagination running wild. And most of the time it has been. Except for some rare occasions where, there was something really going on. And this is that rare occasion. So his first really traumatic experience with the house, whether it be supernatural, extra dimensional, ghost, whatever it is, it happened when he and his brothers were watching a Sunday football game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was a huge rivalry. And one brother, the second oldest, liked Dallas, and then the oldest brother liked the Steelers. And so they were jumping up and, hollering and having a good time. So the younger brother was in there with them. He didn't say much, but he said enough to let them know his presence was felt. And so they welcomed him into the fold because he's as a young guy, he's trying to play with the big boys. So he's enjoying himself. The game is taking place, and it's going good. They're back and forth, neck and neck, tie here, tie there, and the younger brother notices that the floor beneath the second oldest has opened up and flames are shooting out of it. Now they engulf the brother, but the brother's not burning, nor does he realize this is happening. So the younger brother looks at the oldest brother and is trying to figure out, can you see this? How come you can't see this? And how come he's not responding to what we're seeing? So the younger brother is about 8. And he can't figure out what's going on. So then the flames erupt even higher. And then just like that, the flames shoot back down into the ground or the floor of the home, and it seals itself right back up. No harm, no foul. So he sits back, eyes wide open, not knowing what to think, but he won't dare say anything because it'll kick him out, thinking that he's crazy. Or that his imagination is running wild and he's still, a little kid, and they wouldn't want that energy around them. So it would spoil the mood, they would say. So he waits until Monday to talk to his friends about it. So he goes to school and he's talking to his friends about it, and then some of the friends make fun of him and say you had too much sugar, or you probably messed around with your parents' alcohol cabinet or something, because that doesn't make any sense. But then one of his friends says, well, his aunt has been experiencing things like that at her home. Stuff moving, stuff, just weird things happening. He doesn't understand exactly everything that the aunt was saying, but some of the stuff that he was saying kind of is relatable to what he is experiencing, right? So they hang out, and while they're going to school, and then they say, well, we're going to meet at the playground and hang out after school for a little bit. That's close to their home until the street lights come on. So they're out playing like kids do, getting dirty, having a good time, and then the street lights come on. Well, that's the signal for them to get home. So they go home, and we're going to call the youngest Joe. That'll just make it a lot easier. So Joe, what he does, he goes home, dinner's waiting for him, mom and dad is there, the brothers and sisters are there, nice meal, and he washes his hand, washes his face, and he goes to the dinner table, and everybody's talking and laughing and sharing in that great energy and home-cooked meal, and everybody's just having a really good time. So everybody has their fill of the food, and Joe goes and takes a bath to get cleaned up. So everybody's watching TV in different rooms, different parts of the house, and Joe's watching TV in the main room. And so he gets a little sleepy, and he decides to call it a night, because it is a school night, so he has to go to sleep. He has to go to bed early anyway. So he goes to bed. And later that night, because he had drank so much, he's awakened by a full bladder, and he has to go pee. So he jumps up to catch himself before he pees on himself, because he's been called bedwetter by his brothers a lot, and he has wet the bed a couple of times. So he runs down the hallway that's lit, not so dark where you have to turn a light on, but still kind of dark. So he runs into the bathroom, doesn't turn that light on either, but he knows the toilet because there's enough light coming in that he can see where he's at. So he raises the toilet seat up, and he does his thing. He's relieving himself. He's urinating. And he can suddenly hear some pitter-patter or some shuffling of feet behind him. Or should I say, on the outside of the door. He's thinking, well, nobody's up, so what's that? What's making that noise? So then he looks out the door again for like a second time, and then something streaks by, and it makes him jump. So he pees all over the seat and everything. So he grabs toilet paper and tries to clean up his mess, still trying to figure out what he just witnessed, but is trying to make sure that he doesn't leave any traces of him being in the bathroom or him peeing anywhere, because he knows that's a good old-fashioned butt whooping if he does, right? So he turns on the bathroom light to make sure that he got every drop of his pee up. And when he does that, he takes another look before he decides to turn off the light, and he looks out the hallway. He looks to the left. He looks into the hallway outside the bathroom door. He looks to the left, then to the right, and then straight on down the hallway to where his parents' room is. There's nothing. There's nobody. There's no sign of anything, any movement, anything. So he turns the light off, eases out of the bathroom, and starts walking down the hallway towards his room. And when he does, something starts shuffling behind him. So he takes off as fast as he can, runs into his bedroom, jumps in his bed, pulls the covers up over his head, but then he realizes he didn't shut his door, jumps back out of the bed, runs through the door, shuts it, and locks the door. And just as he locks the door, he jumps back into bed, and he can hear feet stop right at the front of his door. And then they turn around and walk back in the opposite direction. He's so freaked out, he puts the covers over his head and doesn't move anymore the rest of the night, and barely got any sleep. So the next morning he asks his sister about it, and because he feels like she's the only one that would understand him in the house, and she tells him that it's his imagination, but he can tell by the way she's responding and looking that she's seeing something. And she tells him, hey, It happens like this sometimes. You know, your imagination runs wild. You see things that aren't there. So that's probably your imagination playing tricks on you. Because it happens to me, and this is a new house, and we're just trying to get acclimated to the house. He says, okay. But he knows deep down there's something else going on. Needless to say, he will not get up and use the bathroom anymore without tapping his second oldest brother and asking him to take him to the restroom. And being the good brother that he is, he takes his brother to the restroom, waits on him while he pees, and then if he has to go, he can go. So it's you're killing two birds with one stone. And he never goes to that bathroom again by himself after experiencing what he experienced. So it gets more intense and it gets more in depth and it becomes deeper and his experiences become scarier. So I'm going to stop it right here. Tell me, you guys, tell me what you think. Like, share, and subscribe. You can find my already published work on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Ingram, Kindle, Nook, Nuke, however they pronounce it. And I have a Cash App if you want to donate. It's kind of tough trying to get these. I have two books that I'm trying to get out right now that are just waiting to get out. And again, I have something for adult sci-fi children's stories. We've got a lot of work, and as you can see, we're doing horror stories as well. So the Cash App is $Outrage95. That outrage starts with a capital O. And again, like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. And yeah, that'll wrap this one up. So you guys make sure you check the dark corners, recesses of your house. Check under your beds. Check your closets. And if you happen to go outside and you have to work at night, check under your car, because you never know what's lurking in the dark, trying to make you a horror story. This has been L.A. Kendrick from the House of Havoc, bringing you the heavy.